going out for a quick morning run, and here to answer a question that plagued me during the early stages of my running career. How do you add speed work into your race training when you're just starting out? Cheers y'all, it's Ryan, AKA I Run on Beer, getting ready to set out on a morning run that I think is the perfect way to introduce some light speed work into your training when you're just getting started out. It made a huge difference for me, so I thought I'd kind of walk through the workout layout, take you on my run, and hope it helps you build something similar into your training plan. So the key to this workout is the steady state pace of running, or steady state running, and that describes the specific pace you're going to do this workout at. And like I said, it is very light speed work. We're not talking about sprinting, we're not talking about 400-meter repeats, interval training, anything like that. This is when you're just getting started, adding just a tiny bit of speed work into your training plan. And what I mean by that is the steady state pace is just looking to find something just outside your comfort zone. So this is a pace that's based on the idea of rate of perceived effort. So basically, instead of looking at a specific time pace, instead focusing on how that pace feels to you on the run. So the goal here is to find your comfortable forever pace. What is that pace you could carry on for long distance, that easy pace you're currently training at, and stepping just outside of that zone. And I don't want to put a numeric value on it, because the goal shouldn't be to focus on hitting a specific pace, a specific number or time pace. Like I said, I think the way to run this exercise is to start with your warm-up, find that easy, comfortable pace that you feel like you could maintain for a long duration, a long distance race. Find that comfortable pace, your breath is still controlled, heart rate is still low, you could hold a conversation while running, and then just gradually start to pick up the pace until you are just past that point. It's gonna be different for each person because it's not the number, it's how you feel. So it should still be comfortable in that you're not killing yourself, you're not out of breath, you're not gasping for air, but it's not a pace that you feel like you could continue to run forever. It is just outside your comfort zone. So that's the idea behind steady state running. That's the idea behind the pace, but how you structure the workout. Again, one of the reasons I like it is because it's pretty much fully customizable to your training plan where you're at now. You could do it as a 3-mile run, 4-mile run. Today I'm gonna be doing it as an 8-mile run, and just basically building in repeats of that steady state pace throughout. And I would say you should shoot for those repeats to be anywhere from like 15 to 25, 30 minutes, depending on the total distance you'd like to go. So for me today, the structure of my workout is gonna be a 10-ish minute, mile-long warm-up at my easy, comfortable pace. Then I'm gonna do 2 repeats of 20 minutes at the steady state pace, so that pace just outside the comfort zone. In between each of those, I'm gonna go ahead and do 3 minutes of full rest, just walking, recovery before starting the next. So the total run is gonna go like this: 10 minutes of warm up, 20 minutes in the steady state pace, 3-minute rest, 20 minutes at the steady state pace, 3 minutes rest, and then cool down to finish out those total 8 miles. So that's how I'm structuring it for an 8-mile workout. I could have just done like one 30-minute block of the steady state pace. I could have done shorter 15-minute intervals, etc. But I basically look at kind of what I think the pace is gonna be, what my total distance is, and what I think is the easiest and safest way to break that down throughout the run. I think it's about time for me to get started on the warm-up portion. I'll take you along for the ride, describe each stage of the workout, and then afterwards I'll run through some ideas of how to build this workout at different goal distances. All right, stage 1, warm up. Nice and easy, gonna sit here for about 10 minutes to a mile, somewhere in that range. Like I said, I'm able to hold full conversations at this point, breathing steady, heart rate's right around 135 to 140, wavering around in that range. But the goal here is this should not be taxing. This is just warming up the muscles to get you ready for the workout. Nice, easy work, just enjoying the ride. We are just over a mile in. Heart rate is sitting right at 137. Great zone to be in. Time to kick off the first steady state repeat. here we are a few minutes into the steady state run. As you can tell, still able to hold a conversation, although I am taking a few more deep breaths in between sentences. But again, you're not doing anything too crazy. You're not gasping for air. You're not out of breath. A little bit labored, but not too much. And that's what the RPE, or rate of perceived exertion, is all about. It's all about the pace based on how you're feeling in the moment, not on the numeric pace. And I feel like that's an important thing to be aware of, because that pace could change day to day depending on a variety of factors: the weather, how you're feeling that week, how exerted you are throughout that week. So for me, the pace is a little bit more, or the pace isn't labored, but higher paces feel harder than they did earlier this week, because I've stepped up my running frequency this week, my overall mileage this week. So I'm feeling it in my legs. First steady state repeat done. 3-minute recovery. Now you can adjust the recovery based on the distance that you're running during those steady state intervals. But the goal here, settle the heart rate, rehydrate. You can walk, you can sit, whatever's easiest. Really the goal here is to try to bring your heart rate back down to baseline, or as close to baseline as you can. So I like to just take a nice steady, slow walk, focus on deep breaths, bring that heart rate down before the next repeat begins. And just like that, break's over and we're back out on the run. Steady state repeat is done. 3 minutes of recovery. We are just about at 6 miles. So we're gonna go ahead and do a 2-mile cool down to hit that 8-mile workout goal. And that's how you do the steady state workout. I'll join you back inside to go through, like I said, just some ways that you could break this down into various distances and how you might incorporate it into your own training. Cheers y'all, how's it going? We are back inside, we are clean, we are refreshed. And as promised, wanted to give a quick recap of the idea or methodology behind the steady state workout, as well as give you some examples of how you could modify this workout at different distances depending on your training program. So to quick recap the steady state pace, or the steady state workout, the idea again behind the steady state pace is for it to be just outside your comfort zone. So I personally find that the easiest way to narrow down what this pace is for you is to start at your endurance pace, your easy pace, which should feel like a pace that you could maintain forever, that you could just go on. It's not relatively taxing, it's very easy, it's just your comfortable everyday pace. Find that to start, and then just very slightly increase the pace until you have noticed, until there is like a noticeable difference in your rate of perceived exertion. Not too crazy, again, just outside your comfort zone, still able to hold a conversation, still able to get sentences out, albeit breathing slightly heavier than you were before. So that's how I like to find that pace, but I think it's a great way to start introducing some very light speed work into your training, just getting that slightly outside your comfort zone pace in, some longer duration intervals at that pace to get comfortable with the idea of speed work later in the training plan. So I think it's a great way to get associated with some speed work. In terms of how you could modify this workout based on distances, I would say you could start it anywhere at like a 3 to 4 mile run. When thinking about creating the workout, I think it's easier to model the workout based on time as opposed to specific mileage. Again, because you're not sure exactly what distance you're gonna cover, because the pace may vary depending on how you're feeling any given day. Your steady state pace one day, when maybe you've rested a few days, could be a bit faster than maybe after 3 days running, as mine was today. So just to keep that in mind. So when we're talking like a 3 to 4 mile range run, I would probably do 10-minute warm-up minimum always, at least a mile at an easy, comfortable pace to get everything warmed up before you do any kind of workout, any kind of speed work, anything like that. So I would do 10 minutes warm-up, And then let's say you're doing 3 miles, then I would just do 10 minutes at that steady state pace and then 10 minutes cool down, or just as long as you needed to hit that 3 mile mark. But 10, 10, and 10. 4 miles, you could do something similar. You could do 10, 10, and 10. You could do 10, 15, and 10. And again, just extend that cool down as long as you need in order to hit whatever your mileage threshold is. If you don't need a mileage threshold and can just do it based on time, great, it's much easier. But if you do need to hit a specific mileage goal, or you want to hit a specific mileage goal, I would just build it into the cool down, estimating how much time you need for those steady state intervals, if that makes sense. If you're looking at a 5 or 6 mile run, again, always start with that 10-minute warm up. And then from there, let's say you were doing, if we're going to do 5 miles, then I would probably do like 15 minutes at steady state, 2 minutes of walking, 15 minutes at steady state, 2 minutes of walking, close out with that cool down run. You could replicate that for 6 miles, or you could do 2 20-minute intervals, you could do 3 10-minute intervals, etc. Again, there's a lot of flexibility, which is why I like this as an introduction to speed work, because it's very easy for you to custom tailor it based on whatever your training plan is, as well as however you're feeling on any given day. I tend to prefer longer intervals when I can. I think that's where you get the most benefit out of steady state pace running. So like the 20 to 25, even 30-minute steady state intervals, I think you'll get a lot more out of that than 10-minute intervals, which you could do a bit faster. So that would be my recommendation. But obviously when you're starting out with lower total mileage, those intervals will need to be shorter. But that gives you an idea of how to format the workout. This has been a very helpful model of training, or mode of training, as I'm trying to build into that 2Q program I mentioned that I'm using to train for the Berlin Marathon. You're supposed to be doing 2 quality workouts each week, basically 2 long runs with some various intervals built into those runs. I was not at a place training volume wise I felt to really commit to those longer midweek runs. So I've been slowly building my Wednesday or Thursday mileage, but including some of this steady state running to hopefully prepare for when I want to launch into those quality workouts, which will be much longer and have significantly more speed work worked into them. But that's an overview of the steady state running workout, the steady state running pace. If you are interested in trying it out, I hope you'll leave a comment below to let me know how it goes. I would also encourage you to read more about the running based on rate of perceived exertion. I think it's a really strong modality for training because it forces you to really tune into your own body, your own legs, how you're feeling, how your body feels at different paces. And I think that is so helpful in any distance of race, because then you're less reliant on what your watch says in terms of your pace. You get a much stronger awareness of what different paces feel like effort-wise for you, so it's easier to settle into a specific pace and then just monitor how you're feeling to remain in that pace. So highly recommend checking it out. It is a great mode of training. I personally have really enjoyed it and am looking forward to building in plenty more throughout training for Berlin. But thank you for tuning in to today's video. If you liked it, I hope you'll go ahead and give it a thumbs up to help other folks find it as well. And if you don't already, I hope you will subscribe to the channel. There will be plenty of more videos coming down the pipeline as I prepare to hopefully tackle a PR in the Berlin Marathon this fall. And again, if you decide to give this steady state workout a try, I hope you'll let me know down in the comments below. But thank you as always for tuning in. I hope your training is going as well as mine is so far, knock on wood. And until next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.